All right, guys, welcome back to Off the Fence. I'm Finch, and we have Chloe Taylor Brown is back with us.
Hey
And
there.
listen, Chloe, everybody that's been on the show tonight has been talking indirectly about personas. Isn't that something?
Yes, yes.
Isn't
Oh,
that
and I
something?
wanted to say on that persona when she was saying about there's a difference between faking it till you make it as opposed to taking on your persona. So there's a big difference in what we were talking about, you and your previous guest, Dee. Those people were just faking it. Some people were faking. They weren't stepping into their persona.
They wasn't being their authentic self. They was being
Yes,
somebody else. Yeah,
exactly.
that's so true too. All right, so we got a guest, and she is in the one shot. It's going right now. She is the founder and medical director of Wellness Infinity Network. She is sought after global speaker on women's health issues because we got so many issues tonight. She's the autonomic nervous system. What is that? I don't even know what that is. Dr. Jerlunder Clarks is there. What is that? I want to need a little education tonight. What is that?
Well, I am the person to definitely do that for you.
Okay.
So, and great try. So it's actually pronounced autonomic nervous system.
Autonomic. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes.
see, medical. I didn't go to medical school in case y'all didn't know that.
That's okay. And auto is kind of the key word that you really want to kind of take and play with that. So give me just a few minutes. I'll try to wrap it up in about less than 2 minutes. So basically, it is your nervous system that functions below your level of consciousness. So if you're in a coma and still yet your heart's beating, your lungs, you're still able to kind of function, and also your digestive system is functioning, that is part of the autonomic nervous system that's controlling that. The beautiful part about it is when you are awake, then the brain actually controls it. So
The
that's why.
brain. Okay.
Yes, the brain. So that's why taking a deep breath, really does allow you kind of to reset your body. But get this, that system really is composed of two major systems, and then one that we're recently beginning to understand a little bit more. So one is called the parasympathetic, and the other is called the sympathetic. Now, if you were in the woods and a bear is running in behind you, and you get that extra super strength to climb a tree and outrun and outclimb the bear, that's your sympathetic nervous system that is kicked in. It's related to flight or fright. If you on the beach, so relaxed that someone yells shark in the water, but you don't budge because you know you're safe, you're on the beach, doesn't bother you, that's your parasympathetic nervous system that's kicked in. It's responsible for rest and relaxation and also restoration. And then they've also connected another part of the system that is responsible for digestion, so your gut, almost like the second brain. So here it is. Sometimes you need, sometimes you're funny.
Oh, you ain't heard the half of what I'm finna say when you finish talking.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you need the gas, sometimes you need the brakes in your body, but for the most part, your body likes to cruise. So when that system is balanced, then you really feel your best. But if one system is elevated versus the other, then it comes with a set of symptoms, and you will feel out of balance, or you may feel anxious, or you may feel depressed, you may have heart palpitations, but you'll just know something's not right.
Okay, so you kept saying pathetic, something with pathetic on the end of it. At least that's what it sounds like on my end. so
pathetic. But I don't know. I got to think about that. Pathetic. Okay, I'll think about that.
You can use that in some kind of form of fashion. Listen, Doc, I can call you Doc, right?
You can. You have earned that tonight, okay?
Okay. Now, somebody listen to our show said, I suffer from anxiety, and I don't think people understand how crippling it can be.
Yes.
You've been in the medical field. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I know sometimes people don't realize, when it comes to anxiety. I talk to people oftentimes. They talk about having an anxiety attack. Tell us what's happening when someone is having an anxiety attack, for those who are listening right now, and how they can kind of curtail that.
Okay, I'm going to try to break it down and kind of relate it to stress. So when I talk about the autonomic nervous system in my office, I do testing for it. So I test physical stresses as well as mental stresses. So believe it or not, if there's something that's physically stressing out your body, let's say you have a thyroid issue, okay, that can actually cause your body to be overstimulated, and you can actually have anxiety even from that, or feel heart palpitations. And of course, when you're in a stressful situation, that automatically can lead you to having some type of anxiety just for natural reasons, because your body's taking in information, and when the brain takes in the information, it processes it and tells your body how to react to it. Now, sometimes what happens is, usually after a traumatic or a dramatic event, what will happen is your body kind of gets stuck in that particular mode. So therefore, regardless what happens, you kind of get this trigger, and then you get the heart palpitations, and then the thoughts kind of come rushing in, and that whole scenario. And just one other key thing that's really important about that too, there's something called generalized anxiety disorder, and that's when you get all of that, but there's no reason that they found for it at that moment.
So you saying we have all these things going on and nobody knows why they're going on and how to fix it?
Well, yeah, we can fix it. We can fix it, because one of the things you can do is first be able to kind of recognize what it is, and therefore, please, if you do know that you're experiencing anxiety, please talk to your doctor about it, because one of the things you can do testing, again, like I said, to make sure that you don't have something that's out of whack, with your physical being. Okay. And then the next thing about it is that, if you are experiencing anxiety because of a particular situation, well, then sometimes counseling can be able to help you with that. And if you are one of those, maybe just from a chemical imbalance, you can also get anxiety too. Well, that's where, we may need to look at doing medication. But meditation is something that also helps with all of those.
All right. So what about someone, let's say they recently experienced a death in their family, like a parent dying, and they find themselves overwhelmed with thoughts. They find themselves overwhelmed with life. They find themselves overwhelmed with a host of other things that's going on. Yeah. How can someone that's dealing with that what would you say to them to help with their anxiety right now?
The first thing I would say is, first of all, what you're feeling is real, and just acknowledge that. Don't try to deny it, because, you talk about the different stages of grief, and we won't get into all that tonight, but try to be able to matriculate through all those. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I really do strongly recommend is get counseling. You can get counseling from your church, surely, from your doctor, because what they can do is these stages of grief that you go through, they can help you matriculate through those, they can help you go through those quicker than sometimes you can do on your own, because a lot of times we get stuck in one of those and then we don't know it. And then we just, a year later, we'll still kind of, I was just going to say, kind of this mood, and may not even realize that we just haven't really been able to truly process our feelings.
Dr. Clark, where you from?
I'm originally from Jackson, Mississippi.
I knew it. I heard that Jackson, Mississippi in your voice. I was like, oh, she's from the deep South. I know it. She is from the deep South. I realized when I was drinking, my cup is awfully big here. And I was like, oh, it's covering my whole face when I drink. But I couldn't get past. I was like, oh, she's from the deep South. Y'all hear that twang in her voice?
What twang? What twang?
That one right there. That twang right there. All right. So you worked with Dr. You help calling her about doctor. You worked with Chloe Taylor Brown before, correct?
I have.
So let's talk about that experience. Did you go through the PEP?
I went through the PEP. Yes.
Okay. So how did you get connected with the PEP, and why did you see it necessary to indulge in that?
Well, it's really kind of interesting, because it was actually around my my birthday, and don't mind telling, I was kind of in a place of transition, and whatever reason, Chloe had sent me a message about an event that she was having, and I was like, I hadn't heard from her in a while, so I went, and she talked about the PEP and talked me into taking the PEP, and I did that because I wanted to just kind of be able to better myself and have a better idea of where I was in life, mm-hmm. and how to get to my next step. So that's always good at any time. So, you always want to be able to kind of self-evaluate, and then also coaches are very good to help you get to your next level. So in doing that, she really, induce that excellence out of me.
Okay.
And allow me to really transition into my next phase of my life. And I don't know if I got time to talk about it really, but
You got time. Because I wanted to hear, I was about to be nosy. I was like, so transition, let's talk about that for a second. Because, people think you're a doctor and they say, oh, what kind of issues she got? I
you
want
would be surprised. We're still human too, and we still have, and life still goes on for us too as well. So one of the reasons why Chloe and I connected, because we both had, losses in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
She lost her son, and I lost my husband, several years ago. So that's why I've always kind of had that special connection, with her. And she's been encouraging me to do a book. And actually, I did a foreword to it. And I hope I'm not saying this too early, but in the magazine that she's going to do. So Flourish, which is just absolutely awesome if you haven't seen it. So I hope she doesn't mind me leaking that out. But it's great. It is. So after kind of going through that, you know what? What was the question again?
I was asking you, you getting all in your business and you brought up transition.
Okay. Yeah. So transition. There we go. Okay, good.
Now, people heard you say you lost your husband. Oh, she's single? She a doctor?
Yes, I am. All of the above. It is way too late at night. That's okay. That's good.
Chloe, where you been?
We're just having a ball.
We about to make this let's make a deal.
Okay. Really. But I'm telling you, you let me lose my train of thought here,
All right, so Chloe, we were talking about Dr. Clark going through your PEP, and she was talking about transition, and she's been trying to tell us the story about her transition, but then we got to go off track because me and across the country found out she was single. So, we're trying to get her a little pep in her dating life right now.
Yes,
so,
let's do that. Let's do that. All the kids are growing in school, from the agency. So yes, let's do that. Oh, time for a different life altogether. Okay.
Right. But now was that part of your transition?
Which part? The kids being out of school, or
no. So you going through, you losing your husband, and now having to transition from being a wife to being single at this stage in life and moving to a whole different tier.
Well, now I'll be honest with you. That happened about 10 years ago. So when I talked to you about being stuck in a grief stage, I know that firsthand.
A decade. Hey, listen.
You can get
here's the thing about that. People think it's a time period. I was talking to someone today about my mother passing. My mother's been deceased now 20 years. I just cried about this 2 days ago.
Yes, right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's really no time limit in that, because it doesn't matter how long ago it's been. That's someone who was a vital part of your life. And I don't know, how long you guys were married or not, but even if it was 5 years, 10 years, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They were an intricate part of your life, and now they're no longer there, and you find yourself having to start over in life. Chloe, you back?
I'm back, but I don't think my internet is strong enough. I'm on my hotspot. Everything just went out, guys. I have no clue what happened.
Oh, it's okay. So we're talking to Dr. Clark, and Chloe Taylor Brown is here. This is our one shot, and we're talking about transition and not being stuck. So, because that's the whole point of tonight's show was how to get unstuck. And Dr. Clark, you are a prime example of someone who was stuck. And you said your husband's death was 10 years. Was it 10 years ago or over 10 years ago?
2008. So what? That's okay. We're going on 12 years now, right? Yeah. 2008. And it's a long story, but I don't mind sharing this too. We'd actually divorced before we passed away. But you was
already single. You was already single. What you talking about?
For a while, for sure.
I think I should probably leave, guys.
No, don't leave. Hang on.
Flora's internet is not acting up. I think
confusing.
she can't stay on the line because I didn't say she can't stay on the line, but her internet's not allowing her to stay on the line. So it's all fine. All right. So
Yeah.
getting
He was still
unstuck.
my best friend. He was still my best friend. So, you know.
Okay. So you getting unstuck in
Yes.
your dating life, was that interfering with your professional life as well?
I would say probably how I handle that is I wind up probably just overcompensating in my professional life, which means I kind of worked all the time, you know.
Mm.
And so between the kids and work, that was life, and probably still now. But I would say between work now, because now the kids are gone, so they tell me I can't use them as an excuse anymore, you know.
Right.
So, and then I finally realized one day that, and it probably when the kids were gone, and you know, when you look in the house and it's just you and you're all alone, then it's something when you have to come to the reality with you.
Right.
And then I really realized that I really had some unresolved grief that I was dealing with, and realized how much it was really impacting and kind of impeding me moving forward, because I realized probably 6 months out of the year, every birthday, you know, I had the kids, every graduation, every holiday, you know, that would kind of just come back up. And it was something to really, you know, to really go through. But what's the song is Lord Deliver Me, you know. It talks about how I had a hole in my soul.
Okay.
And when I realized that, then I was like, okay, God, we got to get real with this, because listen, this is way too long to be dealing with this, and I can't be dysfunctional 6 months after a year. That's just not healthy for anybody. But me being able to kind of recognize that and really being able to again get real with me and address that allowed me to really be able to fill that hole and be able to start to move on and move forward. So happy about that. And the PEP did help, and Chloe definitely did help that too. That still wasn't part of the transition. Well, yes, it was part of the transition, but also that, and then I was moving more in my office into brain health. I love brain health. People talk about mental health, but to me, I don't call it mental health. I call it brain health, because people act and do the things they do for a reason.
Right.
Uncle Ray Ray was cray cray for a reason. That's what I said.
Uncle Ray Ray was. That's hilarious. So Chloe, talk to us about. Dr. Clark was talking about her transition from her husband passing away, although they was divorced before he passed away, and she was already single. And so when she talks about that transition and being stuck, how does one get unstuck from grief? Because grief is something that stays with people for quite some time. So, you know, you guys both can answer this question. Dr. Clark, you can answer this question from experience, but Chloe, you can answer it from a position of life coaching. How can people get unstuck when grief is involved?
Well, I can answer that from personal experience too, because I have had a tremendous grief in my life, from parents and brother to one of my own children. And I even wrote a book, I Can Laugh Again, because that was the most challenging, most difficult thing, was to have a genuine, authentic laugh. And I knew for myself that if I couldn't really laugh, then I was not going to be authentic. So that was my constant prayer. But the most important thing was that I wanted to be happy again. I really and truly wanted to laugh. And so there's tremendous amount of work that you have to put in, because grief just doesn't go away. You have to work yourself through it, and you have to really want to, and it's very challenging.
Yeah. And I was sharing with Dr. Clark that 20 years ago, my mother passed away, and you know, I didn't know how, young man, I didn't know how to deal with that grief. And I think 2, maybe 3 days ago, I cried again about that. And so I was saying that, you know, oftentimes we're told, oh, time heals all wounds. That's a lie. Time don't heal anything. You know, you just learn how to cope better through time, but time does not heal it, because you're going to still have some pain there when you think about someone, especially a parent that you've known all your life, and now you no longer have, you know, you're no longer able to call them, talk to them, hang out with them, and it's difficult for people to deal with. So for people that's just now joining us, we have Dr. Clark and Chloe Taylor Brown here with us tonight. We're helping you guys get off the fence on how to get unstuck. And Chloe Taylor Brown is a life coach. She has a phenomenal magazine. Chloe, has the magazine launched yet?
Oh yes, Mo. Of course, we're having our fourth launch of the fourth edition coming out on the 15th, and this is one of our beautiful editions right here. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who is that on the cover?
That's Drexina Nelson. She's a beautiful photographer.
I know her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Drexina, and this girl who's going to be on this cover on the 15th in just a few days is just amazing. I'm so excited about this magazine, Mo. And that was a perfect example of transitioning, of being present and hearing you. I heard about the magazine, and then I made a decision. Okay, I can do that. And I had no clue, right, Dr. Clark, about how to do a magazine at all. But
she did it.
Yes. And Dr. Clark has a wonderful article in this issue coming up as well.
What is it about? What's the article about?
Well, the Dr. Clark's article is about the jewel of love. Oh, it's just it's a jewel of love.
Dr. Clark, let me find out. Let me find out, Dr. Clark. Okay. The jewel of love.
It's very beautiful. Ooh, it's a jewel of love.
Yeah.
It's a very beautiful article, but this entire issue is a holiday festive season. And so it's quite different. So there's a lot of self-help and healing and processes, beautiful writing, beautiful interviews. We have people from Kenya, from South Africa, from the Ivory Coast, from all over across America. It's a global magazine. It's a lifestyle magazine. Am I just going on and on about it? I'm sorry.
No.
Chloe, you got to tell people how can they access the magazine.
Flourish, FLOURISH, like we're flourishing.
Yeah.
FlourishDigitalMagazine.com.
Okay.
And you can always find everything if you go to ChloeTaylorBrown.com. But this magazine has its own home. It's FlourishDigitalMagazine.com.
All right. So, Dr. Clark, here's another question before we get out of here.
Absolutely.
So she talked about your article. What's it called? What's our article called again?
The Jewel of Love.
Is this the Hope Diamond? What kind of?
Oh, okay. We'll take that too. We will surely take the diamond.
What kind of jewel you talking about? Okay.
No, well, just a brief synopsis of it is that I really kind of express and talk about
Don't tell the whole story because it's coming. We want them to come to Flourish.
Yeah, we want them to go check it out. So don't tell them everything.
Okay, I want. I'm just gonna say this. Trying to figure out what part to tell you now. Love.
Yes, just talk about love.
Yeah, there you go. Love.
Yeah. I'll just say this much. Just like jewels in life, if you don't pay attention to love and the ones you love, you'll lose it.
All right, listen to that. You drew me in just now with that. Okay.
Yes, and you see how slowly she took her time to say that. So she's very intentional about this. Yes, it's going to draw you in. But I missed something. I wanted to say something. I'm not sure if you guys talked about this when Dr. Clark was talking about the mind is the brain, about the mind. So from the coaching, the mind is the brain in action. So we're using our mind to operate our brain. And that's where that autonomic nervous system comes in, Mo. And that's where that persona, that when you can get your mantra and you get that into your spirit, the way that I think it was Jen talking about that self-talk in your subconscious mind, you're going to be programming. And when you can feel that, you are actually using your mind to operate your brain. And you can actually extend your life because you're extending the telomeres on your DNA.
How far are we talking? I want to know how far can I extend this life here? How far are we talking?
That's Dr. Clark's area.
For you keep the laughter up, and it's gonna last you a lifetime for sure.
Okay.
A long lifetime.
I'm not that old. I'm only 22.
Okay, all right. I'm right there with you. I really am. Don't let what's on the wall fool you, okay?
Oh, did you tell him that you're an AKA?
Not yet, but I figured you should have figured it out by now.
Yeah, well, I saw her celebrating when Jen was showing her little pen, so I knew then that she not only was from Jackson, Mississippi, but she was an AKA as well. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, but listen, guys, thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. We're going to have to continue this conversation another time as well. I would love to have you guys both back on the show later on in the season so we can discuss more about this. I think so many people need to hear this type of information. So thank you guys again for joining us. How can they connect with you guys on social media?
Chloe Taylor Brown everywhere.
Chloe Taylor Brown everywhere. Okay.
Yes, Chloe with the C.
DrJerlunderClark.com.
All right, JerlunderClark.com. Well, thank you guys again for joining us on Off the Fence. And hopefully, guys, we help a lot of people get off the fence tonight in life. And I'm so excited about what's going on. Somebody said, very good show. Thank you guys for listening. Hey, guys, if you're just joining us, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you are checking out the Off the Fence. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Next week, we're talking about finances. We're helping you with how to have the right conversation with money. And I'm telling you, I got some experts that's going to be here. And then on the 24th, we're talking about home buying. For those of you who are interested in home buying, make sure you're back here. And then on December 1st, we're talking about entrepreneurship. And I have some exciting guests for you guys. I want to tell you so bad, but I can't tell you. You got to tune in and see. Till next time, get your asses off the fence. I'll see you then.
Yo. You're in the mix.
The world's finest, man. DJ
Downs.
I have the radio on the telly.
You're in the mix.